Welcome, good people of the internet. Hello, it's the Holy Hour Podcast, the All Cure bi-weekly podcast, and we are back for an epic full album episode. Wild mood swings, ladies and gentlemen. And I am joined by the all-star lineup of Donald and Chaz. How's it going, guys?
What's up?
Woo! Hot dog, or should I call you tonight? We got special names for Donald is now, after that last episode, the governor of Drunkiesville. And Chaz is the maestro of memes now that he's causing a ruckus
The maestro
all over
of memes.
Instagram. So we got an all-star cast here to talk about the groundbreaking album.
We all have our idiotic superpowers.
Yeah. So, Wild Mood Swings, the 10th studio album by The Cure. And, this is a divisive one. As we had in that last episode, there was a lot that went on for 4 years leading up to this. And, this is one of those weird points for a lot of people. It's fun to always see on the social medias out there where people stand on Wild Mood Swings. People that are like really in defense of it too, and then people that just straight up hate it, and then
people that get really offended if you like it and really offended if you don't.
Yeah, it seems like even maybe more so than the other ones.
I hate everything.
Maybe Blood Flowers, because that one's kind of the more personal to Cure fans are that way too. But definitely these two albums more than the last two. Everyone's just either like, I hate it, or it's not as bad as people act like.
Listening back to it, preparing for this episode, made me want to hear Blood Flowers.
Okay,
which is something I would never thought I would think.
Yeah,
I really want to listen to Blood Flowers.
I'm still not
there.
there.
I think I know where you're going for that.
And I don't even like Blood Flowers that much.
Yeah, well, maybe the time has come. Maybe you can finally sing it all again in slow motion in chronological order. This will make you kind of appreciate Blood Flowers. And so I mean, maybe just on the top, our opening statements in a sense of where do we stand with this? Because I have a feeling I know where Donald stands at this point. Should I kick it off, or what about you guys? How about you guys kick it off? What's wrong with this album, Donald? How are you at presently? Let's do that before we really dive in. Just like currently, where are you at now over all these years
with this record?
Yeah, just generally. Of course, we'll go into detail, but
yeah. My big thing with this record. Because it's kind of like the first record of theirs where I was like, I don't know about this one. Mm-hmm. It was like a turning point.
Yeah.
Where, it came out in like a time of my life where like.
You were at a turning point.
Exactly.
Ooh.
And totally.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't like musically, it's just not where I was going,
Yeah.
Like, because I was just like shoegazy, fucking like just learning new things about like electronic music and some like hardcore stuff. Not hardcore, but like just like aggressive fucking rock bands, like and like shoegaze stuff, and it's not where I wanted The Cure to go.
Yeah.
And
do you hear that turning point when you listen to it now, though? Or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And it's kind of interesting because I have sat on this record for a long time. I haven't really listened to it in like fucking 10 years.
Yeah.
I hear like the occasional thing on shuffle, but I've never intentionally put this record on in like a fucking
like start to finish
decade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Longer than a decade. And it's kind of cool listening to it with like older ears.
Yeah.
And after all this time, and I did listen to it. I gave it a fair shake when it first came out, So it's not like I didn't listen to it, you know. I gave it a fair shake and just shook my head, and I still shake my head now, but it's I understand more now why it sounds like it does.
Right. Some of the choices make a little more sense.
Totally.
Not much, maybe.
Yeah, because it's like it was a crazy transition, and like they did a good job.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they did a good job. Like, hey, we took 4 years off and made a record, and like
here we are.
the first time we've taken 4 years off ever.
Right.
Does it?
You know,
Does it?
so it's weird.
Does it frustrate you that they didn't take a different turn though? Like they could have gone like down the shoegazy path, or influence from that direction.
It does,
like a harder sound.
It does. Like, one of the 4 notes I made was the orchestration, and I misspelled orchestration. And I just mispronounced orchestration, and I misspelled it too. But
after 89 episodes, we all know what you mean. You developed your own language on this show.
But this record is like for me, it's just like go one way or the other.
Yeah.
And it could be, you know, because I was thinking about this, like go fucking shoegazy or go full on orchestration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they incorporated like half and half of shit.
Yeah.
Of both, you know, of the shit. Like, and it's like it just doesn't sync and doesn't clink together like a gear, like they always do. Like, but they just dabbled in
a lot
both.
of dabbling. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Chaz? Where are you at with it present day? And then we can get into all the roller coaster of emotions probably over the years. But how are you with it?
I like this album like I like green beans. Like they're not great all the time, and they have to be made a certain way. But I'll eat them, just like not all of them. So
they're all mushy or too snappy.
Yeah, like it.
Yeah, dude.
I don't really know where I stand, because I was, you know, I've been listening to it a lot lately, just leading up to this episode. But even before that, it comes on every once in a while, and I'll listen to it, and I'll purposely put it on, and I'm like, that song's really good. It really grew on me. And other ones, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, this is terrible, you know. And I'm like, same with you. I wish there's no flow to the album whatsoever, and there's no theme. Like they don't have to have a theme, but I mean, there's nothing cohesive to like make me want to stay and listen to the next song. Yeah, and like I wish they would have, like you said, I wish they would have went one direction or the other and just stuck with it.
Yeah.
So, but I that whole orchestration, as you put it, like it's throughout the album here, you know, like a song here, a song there, but it's all through the whole album, and it's just, if you're gonna do that, just do it, you know. And
totally.
That, I think that part that's the whole part that irks me about the whole album, is that there were so many bands back then around that time that were doing that, and it's just like, okay, you're being influenced by that, so just do it, you know. So
yeah.
But you know,
and those bands that are influencing you, they're doing what they're doing now, because that's what they did. Yeah. They created like a lot of this shit. You know, it's like just to like hop off the yeah, it's just like a hobo hopping off a train. You know, like, this is my stop.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, were you just riding for fucking ever? Like, stay on the track.
And I know I sent you a text message, Gavin. I know that like about how amazing it would be if The Cure had just done a shoegaze album, and how it would have just killed everybody. I think it would have just blown everybody's mind.
Yeah,
totally.
I think that
you should have sent that text to me.
Jesus. But yeah, I mean, I get that idea of like, and that's a huge fault with this record that I'm sure will come up numerous times throughout the evening. But it's like how it's so, like, for the first time, he's like, seems like he's not sure who he's trying to please, and including himself even, you know. I mean, it's like, it's because they're coming off of their mainstream success still too. They're kind of like seeing is that still there, you know, so they don't want to like abandon the chance of like having pop hits, and you know, but at the same time they're not quite ready to just say fuck it and let's do this whole weird dark album again, you know. And it's like, and you can tell he's feeling that because like some of the songs are clearly not going to be like pop radio hits, and then you know, and then some are trying too hard, and
they have tons of money too.
Yeah,
so
and
they can
then
like,
that money factor and time and money,
like
and,
they can do whatever the fuck they feel like.
Yeah, nobody's really going to tell them no to anything at this point too. They've kind of reached that weird status of like, you know, where everyone's like, I don't know, he's a genius, let him just keep recording for, you know, 18 months, you know. And it's just like
some Elon Musk shit.
Yeah, so who knows, but it's funny. I think we're all kind of on the same page, because that's what I jotted down as my overall initial thought, is just that I think the album does get too hard of a rap, in the sense that, like, you know, it's an easy target because they were clearly transitioning so much that it's like, all right, well, from this point on, I don't like, you know what I mean? And it's like, because I feel like, yeah, there's some great songs on it, but there's some of their clearly their lowest points too. But it is just that hodgepodge thing, like you guys said, where it's just too, it doesn't, and that's what The Cure is just so perfect for. Normally, I don't really care if like whatever, too many songs on the album, whatever, I'll skip them. But I mean, they're just notoriously great for creating atmosphere and having cohesive albums and everything. This is just like, what the fuck? It feels like a compilation or like a singles collection of songs that aren't good enough to be singles, you know? It's like, you know what I mean? It almost feels like a compilation or something, and it's not. Yeah. And that's just weird. But,
well,
so.
If you go back to the beginning, like, minus the first album, but, like, after that, all the albums seem to flow up to a certain point. And then they'll break off, and then, you know, they went into, you know, Japanese Whispers in the top, and then that flowed for something for, I don't really like the top, but, you know, whatever. Mm-hmm. But then you go to the next couple albums, and they all flow together, you know, and then it's a stop, and then you have this, and it doesn't go, like, it doesn't go anywhere. But, like, I know we're going to get into the, I know we're going to get into the B-sides, but, like, some of those B-sides are really fucking good. And, like, I don't understand, like, if you would have put those on the album, there's actually mood there, and there's actually cohesiveness. And I don't know where they went wrong I don't know where the disconnect was between that.
Yeah, we'll save that and talk about it, because I do kind of feel like this is, like, out of all the ones that people love to mix and match, like, what could have been different, this is the one that's, like, Cure a la carte. I had jotted down, because it's like, and I don't really know if any combination is better, but I feel like there is, like, a hidden combination somewhere in there where you could have had, like, an all, like, just something that flowed a little better, you know, because whatever they chose definitely wasn't the best combo, in my opinion. But beforehand, the name Wild Mood Swings, it does fit, given what we just said. Kind of a stupid name, but it does fit the mood. You guys, how do you feel about the name? I know how Dom feels about literal names.
It reminds me of Target.
Yeah, like a wild mood swing sale.
Yeah. I can see that.
It's fucking generic.
Like, it sounds a little
basic
goofy
bitch shit, like,
for a Cure album, but
like, I get it. Like, you're whimsical. Like, we're bringing out brush sticks.
It's getting wild.
On the drums on this record, guys.
Right on.
I just think
I got a mariachi band, and
what do you think, Chaz? Does it fit? Are you cool with it?
It's the one title that I can think of that it doesn't compel me to listen to the record, and it doesn't fit the music. Like, it doesn't like, you think of Pornography and you're just like, this is
like, you want to, like, listen to that and investigate it, and like,
the music reflects the title of the album, and like Head on the Door is the same way, and, you know, Kiss Me Kiss Me Kiss Me, and, you know, Disintegration, fucking Disintegration, that's like the best title that I think they could have come up with that whole album. And just
all of those very literal too,
and they all match, and like this one, it's like
they back it up.
And this one, there's like, I know I posted that meme of like the Jerry Seinfeld one. It's true. Right. It's not wild. It's, you know, there's no mood, and it doesn't swing at all. Like, there's
oh, it swings.
No,
it swings.
All right, one song swing.
Exactly.
Totally. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, because that doesn't really. Awesome. Well, let's backtrack. Here's the bullet points for what the fuck was going on right before Wild Mood Swings. The main one being the lineup change is huge. Boris is out. Poral's out. I lumped that David Allen guy in there, the producer guy that was with him from Head on the Door through Wish. He's officially not a part of the production at this point, and I think that's huge because there's some production issues with this album for sure. And Simon was debatable even all the way until like right before they start recording, but he officially saves the day and is back in, so that's cool. Roger comes back in, so there's a whole addition of a little bit more talented keys, which we're not really used to hearing like heaps of on Cure songs at this point, you know, like fancy playing, if you will. So there's a lot more of that sprinkled into the mix. Steve Lyon is who they bring on.
Like the keys on Gone.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some
More
interesting
weird.
key work for sure.
Yeah.
And so Steve Lyon from Depeche Mode fame is brought in initially just as an engineer. I don't know if I accurately said that in the last episode, but they brought him in mostly just to do the engineering. But then quickly in the early stages of recording, Robert was like, yeah, let's just co-produce this whole thing together. And he's
Did he do like key stuff?
the producer.
Like keyboard stuff?
No, he was just the producer. I don't think he played on anything, but and it's weird because a lot of the production stuff that I do have issues with, you know, it'd be easy to blame him for, but then later in articles and stuff I read, he was kind of saying, I didn't like the way that came out, and I didn't like this, and there's too many songs. So like a lot of the calls of the producer would have had, he probably got overrided by like Robert or, you know, something, you know. So,
I agree with him.
yeah, so it's weird.
I never thought I'd agree with you, dude. But
Yeah, I was ready to throw this dude under the bus in a second because I was like, "What the fuck, man? It sounds completely different." But I think a lot of it was just trying
like
different
the low end's
sounds.
weird. Like
It's
a very crisp sounding.
Yeah,
record.
it is.
yeah, just different and not like a cool experimental way, you know, just a lot of.
And they were like fucking around with strings and stuff, and it's like
yeah.
have some low end horns and strings if you want to do it. Like give me some low end on that.
True. So the scattered
little
themes
cream
are a
cheese
thing
on
that
that bagel.
they debated themes going into it, like making it an all acoustic album, even a more orchestral album, as Donald had suggested. So maybe they should have stuck to that. But there is like a very defining string sound on this album, even though it's used great at times and horribly at other times. But huge actual orchestra that they had going on. And the other big one was the session drummer. Going into actually recording the album before having any kind of set drummer. And I took note as we do the song by song of which ones were actual Jason Cooper beats at this point. I think there's like 3 that aren't him. And,
I thought all of those were him.
Nah, he didn't play on a few of them. And he re-recorded a few like at the last second, I think. So he even was able to snag a few more back. But there's like 3 or 4 songs that aren't even him on it. So that's pretty weird.
Was the first song the Jason Cooper dude?
Yeah,
Do you know?
he's on that one, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah. That song's like drumming thunder.
Like,
that's something I really like about this record, of like a changing of the guard a bit.
Yeah.
Where like Boris is gone and Poral's gone.
Yeah,
And
I mean it's definitely.
It's just like their drumming has always been like very specific, and it's like I can pick it out in a lineup, you know, like of all their drummers, and that dude brings some thunder in the first song. The drumming is dope. I'm glad it's him. I was so worried it was like the other guy.
Like, who was that guy? Bring him back.
in my 2 listens. Like,
it was
that
weird because
really, like that is good.
I was hoping to crack some Da Vinci Code thing in that where I was like, oh, those songs are all, but it was kind of scattered and weird where I was like, huh, okay, that was a Jason one, that one wasn't, and didn't really find any huge obvious like that kind of thing,
like
you know.
standouts.
It would be kind of hard to spot them, I think. But anyway, he played on 9 of the 14 tracks on the album. And yeah, so, and he about like
and there's
it's hard
like
to say
fucking
how
30
soon.
songs on this. Fucking
Yeah, and then they had all the B-sides. I didn't really look into the B-sides to see who played on one on those, but I read at some point like a lot of like I think it was "It Used to Be Me," one of the B-sides was one that they were kind of recording auditions while, you know, like trying out drummers, but they were also recording it.
Shit.
So like that was like one of the other drummers, and it was just kind of an audition that they recorded and ended up keeping it as a song, which is a pretty cool song. I'm not as big on it as a lot of others, but we'll get into that later.
Right.
Cool.
I like Chaz. I like your because I've just been big on like just put like let this record be like your orchestra record, you know, like a symphony. But I never thought of it as the alternative being like a shoegaze.
Yeah.
Like their shoegaze record, and like
yeah.
and I like that, but I think it's a little past, like it's a little too far.
A little too far gone.
It would have been a good direction,
Yeah.
a good direction for him, you know, but it's a little after the fact, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking at that batch of songs, I wonder which, because you really could have, like, you know, won.
Because Wish could have been shoegazy as fuck, and it would have
Yeah.
been better if it was a little shoegazed out. Like,
But at this point,
Yeah.
he could have done anything he wanted to do. I think that's more or less the
Exactly.
point I was like. I mean, I still think that he could or still could do something like that, but I think
a shoegaze record?
yeah, but I think he could do just about. I mean, at this point in his life, he could do whatever he wanted. But like back then, he still could have done whatever he wanted with the blessing of the label, and even for the most part, the fan
Yeah.
base, and you know, gotten away with most of it. But with this album, how much do you think, because of the departure of everyone, how much do you think, like percentage-wise, he was left up to his own devices of what he wanted to do? Like
exactly.
Yeah,
I think
it
it's
was
like fucking.
huge.
I think it's 100%.
Yeah, I
But-
think and that's what initially going into it, like we said in the last one a little bit, but like that idea of like the past few albums in particular, like Disintegration and Wish, there was so much talk of like hanging out with like listening to everybody in the band's
Yeah.
demos and like rating them and voting and stuff like that. And I don't
Yeah.
think there was any of that. It was just like, I have this song, let's see what we can do. And it was weird because he seems like he was calling all the shots, but still like asking for input. You know, he still
Yeah.
was trying to be cool and have a full band, but nobody was probably really challenging him on shit or asking, or he was just being, you know, because it didn't seem like he should have just been like full on solo album with it in a way. You know, much
Yeah.
like The Top. That's
Yeah.
where I'll have a lot of parallels with The Top where he's still.
It totally.
Yeah, where he's still calling all the shots, but like kind of pretending it's a band when it's not really that
Yeah.
much of a band at this point. So.
In my 2 listens,
Uh-huh.
I put together. It's so much The Top. Like it's a modern Top.
Yeah.
Like, they're the parallels between the two are crazy. Like where it's just him untethered,
Yeah,
like from other people's opinions. I don't think he's like it's unhinged and just like not unhinged like crazy, but just like
yeah.
do whatever you want. And that's him doing whatever he wants. Is like The Top and
Yeah.
Mood Swings. Like they're so similar.
But it's weird because it lacks like a theme or focus, which is strange because you would think if it was all him, he would have like the most focused of all focus,
Yeah.
like Disintegration, you know, where he was like, you know, could be my
He
solo
needs
album if nobody's
motherfuckers. That's why
on,
Lowell
but,
came back.
What do you mean?
You know what I mean? Or that's why Lowell stuck around so long, because like he needs
Oh.
that.
In
Like he needs
theory.
people.
should have
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a theory, but he needs people, you know, like
Yeah.
Simon and just
Yeah,
all
it's
these
people to
like,
bounce
great
ideas
musicians
off of,
and stuff
probably,
that like kind
yeah.
of like, yo, dude, chill out, like let's focus.
Yeah.
But left
Yeah.
to his own devices, you're making The Top, you're making the wild mood swings,
Mm-hmm.
you're making some weird shit.
Well, let's see what happens when they do start recording. We left all this out on the last one. He basically stuck to the same formula of getting the country manner and got this place called St. Catherine's Court just outside of Bath, and it was owned by Jane Seymour, also known as Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. And but apparently this super rad mansion or whatever goes way back to like 950 AD even. So
it's like a manor.
Yeah, it was around long before Dr. Quinn, I think, but she just happened to rent it out at the time. And
it's a beautiful place.
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably pretty nice.
Yeah.
So they stuck with that theme, so you can't blame that. And it seemed like, there was no real clear plan from the start. There was some of that Steve Lyon producer guy was like, I was a little unsure of what we were going for, even theme-wise from the start. It was, like we said, Robert Smith just had these songs, and he said, let's record them, and then we'll see if they all fit or what. And just kept recording them. and that was the thing with it. It just went on forever and went on like total 18 months recording.
Jesus Christ.
So, I mean, that's like a whole fucking, year and a half. So it was like, there were lots of pauses apparently, like during the summer, I think of 95, they did like some summer festivals and rehearsals for those festivals and stuff in England and such. And, lots of hopping around too. Like by the end, they didn't want to record like the whole orchestra stuff in the manor, so they would rent out some other gigantic fucking place and do the strings in that building because it sounded better. And then they would hop around for this and that for whatever the instrument.
You used to drag all that expensive recording gear around.
Yeah, exactly. And then it did get into the money stuff that Robert was even just dropping tons of cash into this, even out of his own pocket a lot of the times. And like,
Jesus.
Like he had to pay that Stephen Lyon producer guy because it wasn't a very conventional, like he wanted him to stay on the job for the whole thing. But he's like, I can't just like work on this one album for a year and a half, And
like this is forever.
So yeah, he was basically paying him a salary for that whole time. And
he had to pay him more like, I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah. He was like, all right, whatever. I'll hang out with Robert Smith for a year and a half. But so yeah, it must have been.
This is
nutty.
what you get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like,
probably not the best idea in hindsight, but
he probably should have bought like a fucking like 20-track fucking recorder.
Yeah,
and just like some old tape shit and just did it, make a shoegaze record.
Yeah.
Like do it on your own. You have all that fucking money.
10-track.
Like keep that money and just fucking do it legit.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Always a little too much is never good, but
I want some scary,
it worked for Wish,
like I wanted some scary
but...
guitars or like some like scary like dark strings. Like I
want a little of that. We just get some trumpets on top of it too.
But I just wanted some intense shit.
Like why have just one of those when you could put everything on the same track?
Yeah.
But eventually they ran out of time though, and old Chris Perry came out. So he was like, you have 2 months to finish this, but then it dawned on Steve Lyon and Robert Smith that they had none of the songs actually mixed, like final mixes. So in like this was already like 96, the album's gonna come out this year, I think, and they fucking panic a little bit, I think, and like they outsource all the songs to like other people to mix them.
What?
If you look at so like if you look at the final mixes aren't even done by Robert or the producer Steve Lyon. They're all done by like a lot of people that you recognize the names from that time period, but like
that's crazy.
But I think they Mark Saunders, Sean Slade even did one.
Yeah, I kind of remember. Yeah,
a lot of those dudes, and then I think, if I got it right, they did a whole bunch of songs. So then they would send them back, and they'd have to pick the best ones. And, of course, Steve Lyon and Robert Smith couldn't decide on which ones. And they'd end up arguing over which was the better mix. And nobody really felt like they picked the right mixes.
Yeah.
And if you look at the credits of Wild Mood Swings, there's fucking 10 people that are credited to the final mixes, like where they chose their songs. 10 different, like, basically producer mixer kind of dudes.
And I bet none of them wanted to be like I didn't do it. Like, all of them, like all 10 of them are like, I didn't
just
be
did
known
that one
for this.
song, man. But I mean, that's gotta add to the fucking convoluted nature of the album. I mean, you got 10 different people that hadn't been there for the whole journey of recording the song.
It's why it doesn't sound like
it
why it sounds like a disconnected piece.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't flow.
Yeah. It's so on May 7, 1996 is the magical day that it comes out. The album drops, enters the UK charts at number 9, which was surprisingly high still, and US Billboards came in at 12. Came out to mixed reviews, of course, like everybody, and to this day, ultimately, it would be
if you're out by Mars right now, you can hear the collective sigh,
or just
from people
more
when
like
it came
collective
out,
head
like,
scratching, probably. I'm
like just the sound traveling and just like, this is it.
I didn't think this would come. But yeah, it would ultimately be the lowest selling Cure record in the past 12 years. And the big disappointment side
12
was that
years? That's a long time.
So it was like, it's the first one that didn't do better than the one before it. So that was like a huge disappointment for Robert, where he was like, really? And a lot of that wouldn't really officially kick in till later.
That shit.
Yeah.
Still
and the
hit
fans were
gold.
mixed on it from the start, and still went gold. Yeah, that was my next note. Still made. That's like kind of just further shows the shittiness of the record labels around the mid '90s too. You know, they're like, what a disappointment. It's like, it's a fucking gold selling record. Calm down. Everyone got their money. It's like
how many records?
What's that?
How many did it sell? Like, what's the?
I didn't get the final.
Like, what do you have to get gold?
500,000.
Yeah.
Damn.
To get gold.
There you go.
That's a lot.
That's just the United States.
Yeah.
So they sold 500,000 in the United States. It says here they sold 105,000 in France.
Jesus.
So probably, conservatively, probably sold over 1 million records.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
You take those two countries.
Because, if you think about it, everybody was like, fuck yeah, off the heels of, 4 years later, even of Wish, though. They were going to buy it no matter what it sounded like. But
imagine
probably the reason why it's the one that you always see at the used stores, too.
Yeah.
But how many of those got resold back to Mr. K's used books and CDs? I don't know. But
can you imagine hearing Burn, like, the week before this record came out for the first time?
Yeah, that would have...
You'd be like...
hurt a little bit.
This is gonna rule, and you go and buy it.
Yeah, well, that was kind of the.
You're like,
one of the other weird avenues with that. As we segue into going into the actual songs, is we talked about
like
in the
kind
last
of getting
episode.
stoked for it, you know?
Yeah, because Burn, especially, and then as you go into the first track, Want, which comes perfectly off the heels of Burn, I think. Kind of even going back to your shoegaze ideas, like if you took those two songs, even in like. Just did a whole album of that, where that's kind of like the main reoccurring sound, but it wouldn't be
just
like
intense and strings and like just dope, like drum beats and shit. Like
it would never sound like lo-fi 90s, shoegaze probably, but at the same time, you could do a version of that with Cure songs for sure, and so you kind of wonder.
And in my past 2 listens to this, like. Just putting it on, and I hooked my CD player up to my stereo. So I was listening to like the OG CD that I bought when it came out, and I was like, why did I spend $20 on this? And why were CDs $20? And
I think they had talked them down to about 17 by this point. We're like, let's not totally rob them. Let's just
you get a factor in the tip.
Yeah.
But that first listen, like the first song is just like, it kind of gets me.
Yeah.
Like it got me. I got hyped, and I was like, nah, this is gonna be good. Like I'm listening to it with new ears, and that that song is good. That's probably my favorite. Like, there's maybe like one later one I like. But I really like that first one.
Yeah,
it's
I think
good.
Want is pretty much across
Like it's
the
a good
boards.
intro.
Yeah,
you know?
it's fucking. It's got all the angst of like Wish stuff, like you're saying, and all the guitar stuff.
Yeah.
It's
and like some string shit and like good keyboards.
Yeah, the synth toward the end of the song is amazing. Like,
it's like really powerful and moving.
Absolutely.
You know. I wanted a whole record of just that. Like, that would have been fine.
Yeah. If no other streak was continued, their great openers continued for sure. Like they're great at having like that first track just being like badass and being like a great live opener and stuff, you know? It's like definitely nailed it with that too. So, and that's probably the most only reoccurring one for many years from Wild Mood Swings in their live sets. I'd say looking at the whole album, the only one that was consistently in live sets from here on out is Want. You know,
because it's badass.
Kind of says something too, you know. But,
and it's like the first song for the drummer, and it's like a big like
yeah
change in the band, you know. And like, I'm happy he played on that because he fucking nailed that shit.
Yeah,
like the drumming on that is dope and powerful, and like really pushes the song.
Yeah.
And, like,
steps it up for Perry heavy. Too, showing that he can handle some guitar stuff going on there, and because that's the other big shoes.
He could have had like 20 delay pedals.
Yeah, he probably did, but you know,
it could have been a shoegaze record. And it would sound dope over those drums.
Yeah,
but one of the best songs on the album, not a single. So that
right.
They should have fucking just made it the single. Why not? Yeah, it's a weird one. It's clearly the best song, I think, and as much as I like a lot of the other ones, even it's very strange, and I don't know. I just wish it just, I don't know.
Nothing else on the album sounds like that song. Like I think that's what's frustrating is that there's no song that's even close to as hard as that song is, and like as good as it. Like it's so frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost
Jupiter Crash. I thought Jupiter Crash was the only one that like dipped in that territory, but I think they had like brush sticks.
Yeah, they did it like a more acoustically. I wonder too. Like when we get to Jupiter,
and that
Crash,
song could have been would have been doper.
Yeah, harder. If you had put some like distortion guitars in that and done it in the same vein,
big toms and stuff, like a bunch of reverb on some shit. Like
my note,
but that's like the only second to that song for me.
Yeah, like all my notes here for all the songs are like, could have used synth, could have taken the violins out and make it and I'm just
all like production notes. I feel like I'm mixing like an album or like listening to it. I'm like, I turned that down, kind of like what we said with Wish, but this is like way more of that, or I'm just like, whoa, what is that coming out of that left speaker? It's like turn that down, turn this up.
Well, I just don't understand how they went with the first song with like the amazing synth at the end of that song, but it's not really present on any other song. It's like
they nail it so perfectly.
It's out of the ballpark on like every part of that song is great.
Yeah,
it's a really pretty melody.
And like I don't know why it doesn't transfer over to anything else.
I jotted down that it's almost so good that it doesn't really matter what's on the rest of this album, but not quite. It's almost that good. Where I was like, kind of the way I love Shake Dog Shake too, going to the top. Where I was like, that song's so good. It's like whatever. I mean, we get the whole rest of the top. We got Shake Dog Shake. It doesn't really matter.
It's definitely a good parallel between the two.
Club America track 2. That's an interesting slot. Club America opinions aside, like number 2 slot is pretty
important.
Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's a pivotal slot, especially for Cure albums. You look at all their like, shining albums, the number 2 ones usually like the big single or at least a single or song that's not really weird.
Just telling you where the record's going to go.
Yeah, this is like, I mean, at least the nasty
like
guitars
now.
Kind of, maybe that was the reasoning, is that this is like the kind of second nastiest guitar one to follow up Want, because it has like all those fucking wah-wahs going and they're almost cool, but it's just a mess.
Almost.
Yeah.
It's key.
I mean, it's not annoying like Wendy Time was with the wah-wah. At least it's like fucking like digging in like crazy, like what the hell? Like if you're not really listening, you're like, Jesus, this is just a mess. But that's kind of cool for a Cure song. But
it's almost cool.
Yeah, almost
like
cool.
I was almost cool in middle school.
Yeah. It's funny though, like re-listening to this, I was like, I kind of liked it a little more than I thought I was, because I just had it in my head forever that I hate this song so much, like just years ago.
Lowered
like,
expectations.
kind of
right,
stopped. Yeah, and and I still don't like it at all. But at the same time, it was like I like the guitar stuff just because it was so like weird and like messy, at least. But yeah, that vocal, like, it's not cool in the way that when he did it on Piggy in the Mirror, you know, where he kind of sings that voice, you know, it's like, I don't know what he's going for. At one point he said it's his American voice.
The end, where he's like,
like, I don't know.
That's one of my notes. My notes for this song were, don't like the production. It's weird.
Yeah.
Hate the vocals at the end.
Yeah, I hate the vocal through the whole thing.
And I do.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they sound shitty, and it's like...
Well, I just wonder, because, I mean, I don't like the theme of what he's going for with the song, but I wonder if he sang it normal, would it be better, though? I mean, if he just sang it kind of in a normal Robert voice, I wonder if it would help it a little more.
It would be more appealing.
But, yeah.
It would be a little bit more appealing, but, like, the vocals are terrible, and the song doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to... You know, at least point me in the right direction. It just doesn't.
Right.
There's nothing going on, and like the vocals just totally turn me off. So
me too.
And especially that early out of the gate, you know, it's just like, what the fuck, track 2, what? And it's like not short,
slap in the face.
It's like a 5-minute long song too, so it's just like this fucking wah freak out at the end, and. Jason Cooper got out of being on that one, at least. He was
good.
Pavlo,
good for him.
Louis Pavlo, I think, is the drummer. So,
do you think he was like, that was not me? I had nothing to do with that song.
Like, I'm the new guy, man. I'm just doing up to
But it's one of his super literal lyrics.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Songs for me. Like,
yeah,
don't tell me stuff, man. Like,
it's kind of, it is kind of like a way lamer version of like the theme of Open, you know, like with the whole like going in the crazy American party situation. And
calm down, Chaz.
Sorry, the wife just got home and the dogs are nuts.
Let the dogs out on this one.
Who's the bad boy here?
It's like some sound effect thing. We're officially letting the dogs out on this song. Club America getting taken away by the dogs. But yeah, I think hopefully, I don't know. I don't think anybody's ever cited Club America as one of their, man, on my dream set list. If only they would bring back Club America.
I know someone's sitting in like a fucking arena, going like out in the sun, sweating, going like,
come on, play it, motherfuckers.
Club America, come on, Club America. Said no one ever.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to be listening to the podcast just like ripping up paper, listening to us talking about the song.
Totally.
Like some there's one person all pissed off that we're shitting on it.
Assholes.
Like fucking these assholes. Shitting on Club America.
There's somebody out there whose favorite movie is Waterworld. So
yeah, there's always someone. So.
That movie's fucking hilarious.
But
Waterworld's fucking ridiculous, like this fucking record. When you give someone like tons of money, and this is what you make fucking Waterworld.
The
Waterworld of Cure album.
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
It is. It totally is. Oh shit.
It probably came out around the same time too, didn't it?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to do the math in my head.
Don't blame it on the era, man.
I think it's the times,
like, it's
man.
the artist. It's
horrible
not the time.
year, 95, 96.
Yeah, 95. Yep. They were recording Wild Mood Swings while Waterworld was being made. While watching Waterworld.
Film.
Track 3, then. Let's see where it goes from here. This Is a Lie is a pretty song, pretty cool song. Not a great song, but I like it. It's good use of the excessive strings. This is the most pinpoint, I think, of what Donald was hoping for the whole album. And if you listen to that Join the Dots version, I think that one, because they cut all of it except the strings. And that works really cool. Like, I like that way better than the actual one on the album. I kind of wonder if that's what they were talking about with the billion different mixes from everybody. And then in hindsight, they're kind of like, maybe that was the cooler one. But because it kind of just cuts to the chase. It's like, if you're going to have a song with just like fucking heaps of strings all over it, you might as well let that be the song, you know? And
I'd say this is one of the songs where I'm like, just makes this an orchestral thing.
Yeah.
Like, because the lyrics weren't bad.
Yeah,
it's a good. Like, it's a pretty melody, and like the lyrics are good. Like take out the fucking like little brush sticks.
Yeah.
Drums, like
because on that other version, the drums don't come in until like the last, like till the outro. Really, they bring in the drums on that, and there's no guitar even until like the last like chorus maybe, and it's pretty cool. It's much better that way.
Do you think Robert has all the mixes from everybody still? Or do you think he trashed them all?
I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
That'd be
real
interesting to hear what the 10 different mixes or
True.
whatever.
He paid like $1 million for all this recording shit.
Yeah, I hope he has it.
I'm sure he has all of that shit. Like
that's why he probably is like thinks the album's great because he forgot what the fuck is actually on the album. Is like, I don't know. I've listened to so many goddamn mixes of This Is a Lie.
I mean, they put out Join the Dots and like that dude catalogs all this shit. Like
maybe when he dies, he'll turn into like Prince or Tupac, and it'll just be album after album that comes out afterwards.
Well, I didn't think of many reasons to be too excited for the Wild Mood Swings reissue, but that could be cool if they put all those on there. That would be pretty rad. So. Or
it'd
maybe
not
be
better than
at least
the
some of them. Yeah, you know, something different. I do remember a cool live thing of seeing when they played this live from this era. Like Simon would play an acoustic guitar, and just like a normal, like actual 6-string acoustic guitar, you know, and
what?
Yeah, it was weird. I guess because like so much of the strings was being covered on the low end. Like it was one of those deals.
All the keyboard strings.
So yeah, this is a big one. Track 4, the 13th, is the first single that's released about a month, maybe not too much. April 22nd, 96. So a couple weeks before the album came out. Like, it's a weird one. Not a popular Cure single, it seems, amongst the fans out there on the internet to this day.
The first single?
Yeah.
It was the first single off this album, yeah.
Jesus.
And that was the huge argument. Steve Lyon, the producer, was like, you gotta just put Mint Car out, come out blazing with the obvious single. And Robert was like, no, which is kind of a cool move, I think, and like a perfect what the fuck Robert Smith move, where it's like this weird ass song after 4 years, you know, it's like
keep you on your toes.
I remember just being blown away because this was like our first like year out of high school. I remember being like in college, driving there and like zipping out and grabbing the single and like, here it is. And I'm like, whoa, okay. It was just like trumpets and like alt salsa or something. I don't even know what the fuck was going on. But
salsa. Is that a genre? Alt salsa?
It was after this. Goth salsa. I don't know. But yeah, I was just like, what the fuck is going on in this song? But I liked it because I mean it's different, and I like it more now than I probably did at the time because I was so like, I don't know what's going on. But it's weird. It's got like thin, like I like the verse, but the whole "it feels good," give it to you, that whole shit, you know, it's yeah, that's just like I still don't know what to make of that, and just lyrically, it seems like he could have come up with a better line.
And the way it leads up to like, did you feel good? Like like just the whole orchestration of the song is weird, and when he gets to that part, it's just like, I don't know, that song's off. Like it's
that's being
curious
kind.
what you guys think of this one. It's I like
I get where they're going, but it's just like, why did you go that way?
Yeah,
it's terrible.
You know?
Yeah, not into it.
No, not at all. Like I have.
It's such a letdown.
I have no. If I didn't have to listen to it, like for the podcast, I definitely would hit skip.
Just
I like
block this one out altogether.
Yeah. And
like this is one of those records you don't put on, you cherry pick.
Yeah.
And I don't even cherry pick, but I just don't put it on.
And I have a T-shirt of the single, but I just I like the T-shirt, but I don't like the single's terrible. But like,
is it the cover with the little bear thing on it? Yeah, awesome.
But, like the three other songs that are on the actual single are collectively better than
Yeah.
The single.
But yeah, this is a weird fucking tune. I don't know. It's just like, and the video is like off the charts. Like, what the hell is happening? And I think it was just because of that gap, you know, that 4-year gap where it's just like, okay, if Want had come out as the single, we'd be like, oh yeah, the Cure's back, you know, in like a Never Enough kind of way or something. But yeah, this was just weird. But I do have like great, like, if you spare me a few moments of sentimental value, it was great. Like, because in this era was like I said, unfortunately, with Dawn and I, we started drinking around this era. I remember just countless nights of like in my basement, and we were like, "What is this natural light beer that gives me incredibly painful headaches?" And so we were just like, and I remember just like having like the house to myself, like for one of the first times around this time, and I just gotten the single. And I like got like this whole thing of beer, and I just got shit faced by myself and blasted this single like constantly, and it was like one of the funnest nights ever. I was like, I'm so adult now, and like I was just like listening to The Cure, and then I watched Killing Zoe and passed out and felt horrible. But
and then you changed your habits and your behavior because you were fucking stupid.
I don't know. Depends on the night of the week now, I guess. But I feel like I've matured a little bit. So
Blasting this shit over.
And then you got a victim.
But maybe some part of me always feels a little tingle in my heart for the 13th when I hear it, because I think of that evening of just total debauchery. But I don't know. Cool, let's move on. This is the one that is the third single, so we're skipping the next single for now. Track 5, Strange Attraction, third single, came out in October, so by the fall of this year. Technically like the melody and the vocals, but so much of the song bugs me still. I know a lot of people like it as a Poppy Cure song, but I think it's the keyboard sounds I don't like, and like it's the production or something.
That's exactly what I was gonna
something
say.
With it's too plucky or something.
Like,
I don't.
What the background like? Dun dun dun.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, like if you were just playing that on a guitar, maybe with some fuzz or something on it, it might just be like way cooler. I mean, I can't really picture how it would be cooler, but I feel like somehow if they re-recorded it, I'd probably like it though, because I like the melody and I love the lyrics. You know, like when we talked about the Music for Dreams thing of doing Cure karaoke, where you sing anything over a Cure song, I'd almost want to just take those lyrics and like sing them real sad and slow over something. You know, it's just because they're good lyrics.
They're really good.
There's
lyrics,
like a million words
Yeah.
though in that song. Like that's a super.
It's wordy as fuck.
There's so many lyrics in that. It's a busy song. It's just a busy fucking song,
Right.
and it's like I see what you're saying. Like I like the overall idea of the song, and I like, and it's like I don't want to like it, but I do. Because I kind of like the swing of it.
It's a good vocal melody and everything, so it's not even like it's just something doesn't. And the drums, I really hate the sound on that. I think it is a Jason drum, but everything's
the
just
mixing
like,
on that is weird.
And that was kind of a '90s thing in general too. Like I remember like a lot of
very
snares
90s.
sounding like that, and I hate that sound for some reason.
It's so compressed, like it's.
Is that what it is? Yeah, I was gonna ask
Like,
you.
this
Like,
is this is.
it's no, and I guess
Yeah.
they're so like reverbed out. Normally, everything's like, you know, like those early albums and shit. You know, and it's just,
They always go big with their sounds. It's like very open recordings and like reverb and like just room sounds.
So
and
it's so
shit.
weird to hear something
And
so
this is so
snappy and
tight
tight.
and,
Yeah,
like-
it's really weird.
Yeah, obsessed over, you know, where you're like, people are like, they probably had the technology at that point to like start clipping down like snare drums sounds and like just compressing and fucking just being able to fuck with everything
Yeah.
is what this is starting to sound like on this
Yeah.
song, you know, it's just like what we're getting into, you know, it's just like they're fucking with everything. And that's why it took so long to get made.
Just fucking around with the
There's so much
snare drum
money,
sound
and
too
there's
much.
the ability. There's the ability to fuck with every nuance of it.
And they're probably just
and-
starting to mix like computers into it too and stuff. So they're like, not to the point where they can like go in and trim stuff, but they're still filtering computers into shit, you know. And it's like, it's
this is why it sounds good.
probably, That's I feel like the production shit is like key on this for sure. And
like, do you go into like, is it like the team that he assembled,
right,
letting them down, and like he has all this money, so he's probably surrounded by fucking creeps. His fucking old fucking lol suing him and shit, and like he's surrounded by assholes. Because anytime anyone has money, like you're surrounded by assholes trying to like fuck with you and like get your money, you know.
Nah, I mean, it's not like he's gonna sit there quietly going, "Oh, this is getting out of control. I'm not gonna say anything." You know, Robert's like he's gonna speak up. He was totally on board. I'm sure somebody had convinced him enough that this sound was all right, or what.
I think it was incredibly deliberate. Like we said before, like he was like with the top, he was by himself.
Yeah.
You know, and he was like, "This is what I want. This is what you can maybe say it had something to do with all the mixing that they did with all the different people, but I think that he purposely wanted that song to sound like that. And like this is a song that definitely grew on me, and where I first hated it, and like it's definitely, I think it's one of the most 90s sounding songs on the album.
Right.
Where it's like, that's a radio 90s single that they're trying to reach for. But like now that I'm older, I listen to it now and I actually kind of like it. So it definitely has great lyrics. This is a song that I hear myself singing in my head, like when I'm just like walking around the house. I don't even know why. It's just one that gets stuck in my, It's got that.
Yeah, like I said, that chorus melody's great.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Strange Attraction.
We're talking about This Is a Lie?
Strange Attraction.
What? We're still
That was like 2 songs ago, man. Maybe we should move on then.
You know, like there's so many songs they missed.
Well, going into the next one, a lot of people don't agree with this, but I think Mint Car is a great single. It's a cool pop song. Track 6. It was the second single released. Arguably should have been the first.
Yep.
Came out in June. I think Love It or Hate It, it's obviously just they're trying for another Friday I'm in Love. Nice. And, it's a pop song. I like it, though. I think the lyrics are thin, very thin lyrics. There's not much. Every time you go to the good, should, coulda, woulda rhyming scheme, it's like not really. Robert could probably do a little better than that. But at the same time, it's like, but it works. I feel like it's like that bass line fucking rules on that song. And I don't know. It's just I like the guitar part, too. I know a lot of people hate the little, like, high note. But I think it's cool. I'm down with it. I like this one. So
it's kind of like a trendy TV show theme.
Well, it was used for 2 soundtracks in the early 2000s. So the movie Loser with the kid from American Pie. And then an Aston Kutcher in 2005. That was like a romantic comedy. So it's a rom-com song.
It's definitely a rom-com song.
It is. It's like the Friends thing.
No, it's not that.
No, it's not that bad. I could see it being used for something like that, though.
Yeah, definitely. Totally. And I see the dislike for it, but I just happen to think that one's kind of cool. Like somehow Strange Attraction doesn't quite hit me in the right spot, but this is a cool song. I dig that one. But I get it. It's obvious. Like everything that people argue about Friday I'm in Love, and I'm a little like, oh, come on, but that song still rules, you know, like this one's a little harder to argue back, I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Well, it's
sweet.
It's gonna be compared to Friday I'm in Love all the time, just because they're the 2 probably poppiest singles they ever put out.
Yeah.
So
probably.
I mean, personally, if I had to listen to one of the 2 songs, I would probably listen to Mint Car more.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Maybe
less overkill.
Maybe
just a better song. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how I'd compare them. I'd probably say like Fire Man Love's technically a better song, but because of the overkill, I probably like have like a like a fun. Like I love just getting in the Mint Car on a sunny day and fucking. in my not so mint car and drive around, and yeah, it's just fucking fun, you know.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, I hate he does gotta just say happy in the sun and everything, and it's just like, he's dropping it a little too. You know, what Donald hated about the literal stuff that I didn't agree with Wish is maybe a little too literal on this one, you know, or it's just like, okay, I get it. You're happy now. It's all right, you know. But
Get over yourself, asshole.
but I love that bass line so good. And
that bass line
yeah,
is
it's all
tight
kind
on
of
that
fuzzed
shit.
out.
He's all over the place on that. He's hitting a million notes, and it sounds dope.
Then you have the little kiss sound effect in the background that he added in there.
Oh, yeah?
The
Oh, yeah,
gorgeous
yeah.
strawberry kiss. And he goes,
Yeah.
little bit too
one
literal
of
for
the
you.
58 tracks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what takes me away too. Like with this record, it's like there's lots of those little like roller coaster fucking like attraction sounds like that he does. Like little kisses and little overdubs and stuff.
He doesn't do that much in this album, though,
I
does
love
he?
him. I think that's what he's.
He does.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the vocals are weird, but I mean, just as far as like those little oohs and ahs that he puts in, like I don't remember hearing
He kind
too
of
many of
bleeds
them.
them into like the high harmonies and
Yeah.
stuff. Like a lot of times on like the chorus,
There's
it'll be
not
like,
as much.
Yeah,
And then it'll do like kind of the whoa. at the
There's
end of, like,
there's like
everything.
2 or 3 like poppy jams on this where he does it, and even on some
Yeah.
of the mellower ones,
he definitely does it in Mint Car like 6
it's
times.
like a vocal.
Yeah.
It's kind of overkill, but I still like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like, it's not a bad song.
I do feel like it
It's
should have
just
been a
weird.
bigger hit than it was for sure. If people are gonna
Yeah.
latch on to Friday I'm in Love as far as the actual Billboard, you know, why the fuck not? This
But it was
don't
96.
you think this should have been?
It was-
What's that?
it was
96?
96,
Yeah, but I
so
mean,
it's not Dishwalla, but I mean,
Dishwalla.
at least like a top 8, you know, maybe not a number 2 jam or anything. But I mean, come on, I don't think it cracked like the top 50. I don't know where it was on the
I'm gonna check.
chart position. Damn.
Fuck no. It was filled with like Pearl Jam,
It was
Yeah.
right? Like they were
the alternative
jamming.
songs. It was 14.
14.
Yeah, the Billboard Hot 100s. It was 58.
Okay.
That's just in this country. UK, it was 31.
Yeah.
So
That's funny.
yeah,
Did better here than.
it,
Yeah.
it got 20 in Finland though.
All right. There you go.
These are all like pity numbers, though, where like people are like,
It's a fun
I don't want to
song."
do them bad.
Whatever the top hit of the 96 was, I'm sure this was funner. Whatever the fuck it was. Spice Girls yet? When were they?
They had to be around there. Top songs in
man.
'96. Here we
Yeah,
go.
maybe we need to dive into that cat. What was the competition?
Shit.
Maybe some-
Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men. One Sweet Day was number 2.
Lame.
Celine Dion. Mariah Carey again.
Super lame.
Bone Thugs and Harmony was number 7 with The Crossroads.
Damn. Can't.
Yeah.
That song's dope.
None of these
That
are like
song's
particularly big
dope.
poppy songs, aren't they? All
Their
kinda, like,
harmonies,
ballads,
they
yeah?
don't joke with that Bone Thugs and Harmony
Yeah.
bit. Like,
Yeah.
their harmonies are dope. That song's the
I mean, you
jam.
had like the Gin Blossoms were up there, and you had Alanis Morissette with Ironic was number 13.
Oh yeah. I read a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff on the, like the year, like everything, like article I read on the Wild Mood Swings was like, but it was the year of Alanis Morissette.
Yes, it
and,
was.
that's probably why nothing went. I was like, a year dominated by Alanis Morissette. Why even bother to put out a record? I was like, wow, really? I was like, okay.
I'm embarrassed to say my wife literally this weekend went up to like DC to see Alanis Morissette at like some basic bitch Target like
That
wolf
is awesome.
trap shit like, and she loved it and had the best time. And
But really quick, 28 on that list
Uh-huh.
was Dishwalla with Counting Blue Cars.
Oh, 28.
29 was Alanis Morissette, You Gotta Know. And
Shit.
30 was Joan Osborne, One of Us.
Damn, so it was that whole era.
Yeah.
Man.
And I bet those songs, some of the songs were probably like at
Oh,
number
probably.
1, and then over like fucking like a whole year they dropped down to like 14.
And if you look at all those songs, though, how
You
fucking
know.
cool is this? The Cure was actually too happy and poppy to have a hit at that point. If you look at all those, they're not like poppy fun songs. They're all like, you know what I mean? Like they're all like angry as fuck songs in the 90s. Like everybody was just like fucking pissed off about something. And the Cure's finally Robert Smith's like, oh, I'm so happy. I can scream. Woo! And I was like, fuck off, old man.
It's like your time to shine, dude. Like get
if
like
they put out Want, they
fucking
probably would have been a
gnarly.
hit.
Like you have the money to do whatever you want. Get gnarly. And everyone was gnarly. Like everyone was.
Yeah, they're all like, no. What if God was one of us,
culture.
man? It's like, whoa, shit, that's heavy,
think
dude.
about that.
It's like, fuck, I just wanted to sing about being happy and in love, you know?
I haven't seen a blue car in like an hour. I can't even count any of them.
Totally.
Like,
oh man, that's
Like-
fucked up.
and I kind of see like why the Cure kind of put this record out a bit.
Yeah,
now.
maybe this was like
After
their
thinking
way
about
of
that.
rebelling,
Girl
you know, everybody
vocals.
else was doing.
Because it's like they're the antithesis. Like they're rebelling against like they're the opposite of that.
It's like nobody will expect an album with like goth salsa.
Right? Am I right, dogs?
I think the Pooches would agree with me on that point.
Yup.
Cool. Let's move on. Donald's next favorite track, Jupiter Crash, which I find incredibly humorous because I have an outtake from a time when we recorded with Arusha, and she was like hell bent on convincing you how great Jupiter Crash was. And you're like, sucks, man. Worst piece of shit.
Haven't even listened to
Like,
it in like 4 years.
At least
Fuck
20
yeah.
minutes of Donald saying how he would never listen to Jupiter Crash ever again. It's the worst song. I'm like, awesome. I just got him recorded saying it's like his second favorite song on this album, which still might not be saying that much, but at the same time, pretty cool. But yeah, I like this song. It's definitely a wishy-washy Cure, but it's got a lot of cool layers going on in a way better mood than a lot of the last songs we've heard, and I like it. Where you guys stand on Jupiter Crash?
Donald, go ahead.
My note says it's okay.
You're backtracking now. You're just like, shit, it's okay.
It's the note I wrote down. It just says it's okay, but I remember liking it.
good.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, there's cool layers.
but there's too much like brushy washy
Yeah.
shit. It's a very wishy washy sounding song. Like all the instruments and stuff are very
Yeah.
wishy washy.
It kind of fits in with
I don't
the
know.
later part of the album now. So that's the only part I kind of do
does.
like with, like if you're gonna set a mood of the album, it was that definitely fits in with some of the other songs
Yeah.
where you know
It
Yeah.
like settles you down
Want,
for the next
Want has
part.
no, like the song Want doesn't have another song that goes with it on the album, but you know Jupiter Crash has like 3 or 4 other songs that could go with it. So you know you can make it. They could have made a whole album
EP.
of that, yeah,
Yeah.
or an EP,
They made-
yeah.
They should have made like 3 EPs out of this.
Then one called Wild, one called Mood, and one called Swing.
There you go. Yeah, they put all the trumpet ones together and all the. Because they were gonna do the acoustic thing. That was one of the things I read that I didn't remember. That was one of the actual discussed themes that they were gonna do it all acoustic, like Bear and Jupiter Crash and
Right.
Well, that's
probably
fine.
This Is a Lie and a few of those. And it kind of makes
Yeah.
sense. I don't know if I'd choose that angle.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't that old at that point where they need to. We're all just gonna play vintage acoustic guitars, you know. But at the same time, at least any theme would have been better.
Yeah.
So maybe, yeah.
Did you say like anything would have been better?
Any theme, you know, just picking
Right.
some fucking theme, you know, like
One or the
all,
other.
all acoustic, yeah, probably better than the no theme, but
And even all acoustic would be dope.
yeah,
Yeah.
they were.
I
you
didn't
know,
think about that.
and that doesn't mean you know like the bass wouldn't have had to have been an upright bass or anything, you know, you could still just do all like tons of acoustic guitars and shit, but I mean it doesn't have to be full on unplugged where there's no pianos even, or just toy piano for everything.
That would be dope. Because it's like just do a shoegaze record, do a fucking orchestral record, do a fucking acoustic record.
Yeah.
Like
I would have been fine with that. I mean, I think it would have come across better, and would have, like in hindsight, would have had a better opinion.
Yeah.
Especially now, than all over the place. I really like it, but I think it's like one of the best songs on the album. And when I saw them at Merriweather, they played it, and like the whole entire place went nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So
that kind of revived it for me too. I'd been kind of going sour on it over the years, and then when I saw them when they played it, it really was like with that awesome like ocean backdrop with the lightning and stuff, and I was like, that's a really fucking cool song. Like it really just kind of bringing on back. I was like, and that is cool that they're kind of pulling a few of those back into the set. Would be a good way to revive it for sure. It was stemmed off of an actual true event. Did you guys ever remember around 94 there was a comet
they hit Jupiter?
Totally.
I thought you were going to talk about Hail Bop where everybody killed themselves.
I got my Nikes on right now. There's like that whole call.
Yeah, it was a comet, though, and collided with Jupiter. It was the first collision of bodies ever observed in modern times, apparently.
Smith is a flat earther.
And he did it. He caused the collision. But you know, that's cool that it has, like, and, you know, and the whole thing's obviously, like, a metaphor of a relationship and shit. But, you know, like, and it was funny, too, like, watching some interviews just the last weekend, like thinking about this album, and he said he didn't say this song specifically, but what he liked about this album was that he wrote about shit that was like stuff he normally wouldn't write about, and he was like, everyone thinks just because we're the Cure I have to like pull all this from within, and every song has to be this like tortured part of my soul that I'm pulling out, and it's fun to just kind of pick stuff and write, you know, songs about that as well. And you know, so with that in mind, it kind of makes it cooler, you know, or he is just being a little more lighthearted,
whimsical,
you know. I don't know. It's not like super, you know, whimsical by any means, especially a song like this. But
all could be jolly too.
Yeah, you know, it's like it's just better when you pull it from within. I know we don't want to put you through that, but I mean, it just usually works out better when when you're fucking dying and feeling horrible.
Dig it to your soul.
For better songs.
I can hear a good song. It is kind of dicky as a fan.
Yeah, you know,
they expect like.
He just wants to write a happy song and hoot and holler for a few minutes. Let him, you know. But
I want to write some dumb songs, assholes. Like,
that's such a crime. Well, track 8. This is where the record actually loses me a bit, so I might start falling on the Donald side of the spectrum.
You were still on at this point?
Yeah, I'm pretty. Because if you look back, I like Want. I hate Club America. Yeah. This Is a Lie. I'm cool with 13th. I'm cool with Strange Attraction. Not so much. Mint Car I like, Jupiter Crash I like, but now I get like my first like run of like 3 where I'm just like,
Jesus, dude.
And even listening to that, I'm like, I don't remember that being a distinct moment back in the old days. Like just listening to it now, as we come across track 8, round and round and round and round and round. I think might be fairly. Everyone might agree that there's no reason why this should be on the album. It's like strangely short, even like no Cure song has ever been like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It's fucking dumb and it's a pop song that has like that's not catchy or fun.
And it starts
or
off just like from the fucking get go. It's like rah, 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 and it's like
I like the round and round, but not the round we go. Like when he goes up with it, it's just like, it's like, what are you doing? And I don't know, like, yeah, aside from the Weedy Burton, it might be my most hated Cure song ever. But I don't know why. It's not like it hurts to listen to it, but I just like it's just pointless.
It's very forgettable.
I don't know. Yeah, it just seems like so easy
It's
to
not
just leave it
forgettable
off.
because I remember it, and that's why I hate this record.
Just burns in your soul.
Yeah, it's very memorable. Like, terrible
and-
things are worth remembering, you know?
Yeah.
It should,
And then
This
like
song's
something I've never seen in
shit.
print, and maybe this is some weird songwriter thing that I need to just get over, but I've never seen anybody else address the fact that the little melody of the instrumental part is totally the fucking Another Day, or yeah, where it's like the da, 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 da. It goes da, da, da. It's
Right.
like da, da, the window, we got the window back from fucking Three Imaginary Boys.
He's
So, like the
rehashing.
one good part of the song's like fucking from your first. I don't know if it was meant to be a throwback or if they're just like so out of ideas at that point. He like, I'm sure it's like not the same key, maybe a little different, but at the same time, I don't know. Do you know what I'm talking about? Am I totally nuts on that, or is it?
No, you're
No.
not. Like,
It's okay.
it's normal, man. When you write like a million songs,
Yeah, I mean it's bound to
like,
come up again, but
it's
it's
bound
just
to
further
fucking
proof
happen,
that like somebody should have fact checked this and be like, all right, 90% of the song sucks, and the 10 seconds where you're kind of nicking yourself is the only good part of the song.
you're getting all
It's like-
flat cure.
Yeah,
right now.
maybe. but
You're
it's-
getting all flat curie.
I'm digging too deep on this, maybe. I don't know. But I swear, it's just, and it's one that like Robert Smith has gone on the record of saying how much he hates Another Day. So it's like he's kind of like,
That song's
like
dope.
pulling apart
That's
from a song
weird.
that he doesn't even like. So I'm like,
He's
it's
probably
probably
played
not
it
even
a million
intentional.
times.
Yeah, it's weird, but that always bugs me because I like that song, but don't like this song. So I don't know,
Out
man.
the window.
Yeah, it's like they like, of course, replaced it with just like a synth trumpet melody. Or something.
Yeah,
It's like,
like a steel drum keyboard sound.
on the Gimmo 1000 or whatever the fuck he was using. It's like Jesus Christ. But anyway, any more thoughts on Round and Round, or did I just run that shit right into the fucking
This
dock?
beautifully. Chaz, you have anything to add?
They should have covered Rat and just called it a day.
Is that a Rat song?
What, Round and Round?
Oh shit, yeah, round and round. That song's a jam. That would have been better. Absolutely.
Just cover Round and Round by Rat. Which takes us into track 9, which I think is a great vomit song, is Gone, and not in the obvious way. The 4th single.
Oh my
Gone,
God.
I think the one positive thing I could say about Gone is it is a very accurate, how I feel like with a Hangover song, like lyrically, it does really paint the picture well. But that aside, it's really annoying. There's way too many like fucking noises and trumpets and tracks, and this is like kind of the perfect example of having too much shit going on, which is like, what the fuck is this? It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
I-
the voices, the trumpets, the synths, the regular keyboard going. The just,
So much.
I just
Yeah.
have garbage written next to it. Yeah, it's definitely one of my least favorite Cure songs
and
ever.
I even remember as a kid, I was like, wow, they're making that a single, like by the
Why
4th
would you do
fucking
that?
single.
You have two
Yeah.
good songs, you miss them.
Take
Completely.
it off, yeah.
My
Yeah,
notes on this was I want to hate this.
And I do.
I kind of like it.
Oh god.
Would be a
uh-oh.
good top song.
A big what? Top on the
A top
top?
song. Like,
Ah.
it,
Because it's
that song
terrible?
would make sense. Like if it
Yeah, it
was
kind
on-
of fits with Chaz's feelings. Like,
But it makes
like,
sense.
yeah,
on the
why not?
top.
Put it on
Like,
the
you could
top.
swap out some shit on the top and put that song in there. And it would make sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
I
like
was-
some David Bowie shit. Like,
yeah. It reminds me of that Young Americans
Yeah.
cover and how I talked about how I don't
Right.
really like that. They must have recorded it on the same day or something, but yeah, I don't know, man, because it didn't really bother me when it initially came
he's
out.
like a cabaret performer. Like,
Yeah, I feel like I literally like it less every time I've heard it since 1996, and now I'm just kind of like,
it just
I'm
like when it comes in, like the song structure when he's like gone, gone, gone.
yeah,
That's the
that
only
gets-
part I like. and it comes in so weird and awkward. Like,
get moving.
I kind of like how odd, like, is.
I just picture like drunk Robert in like a nightgown or something, like swashing some like
just going nuts
wine around and stuff, and
I listening back to it, I really liked the vocals and like all the. Like, it did kind of get me, and it's a stupid song. But it kind of caught me. Like, I really liked the vocal stacking harmonies that he did, you know?
Yeah, and I thought you would totally hate that, but that's good. Yeah, I mean, you can't definitely accuse him of doing anything half-ass on this song. It's definitely...
It goes for it.
It's like, man. If you're going to do it, fucking do it, and he's doing it on this. It's like, there's so many, like... Yeah, just like he's really like singing it, and it's just
there's so much to it, but it is well done. Fuck? Like it sounds
it's like
silly,
a whole trumpet solo. Even there's like,
I put a check mark next to my misspelled orchestration because of these horns, where I was like, I need to make a point, like where it's like you went too far. Like, chill out a bit. I don't know.
And it's weird that it was the fourth single, and like even Wish didn't have 4 singles. That's like another sign of the times of like label greed and just the 90s in general.
Oh,
like,
so much
and
money.
Just where they were at. It's like they didn't have to put out a 4th single, and if you did, you sure as fuck shouldn't have picked that song. You know, it was like. You know, why not go for a weird one at that point?
That's when I stopped buying fucking Cure CD single, like those shitty package ones, man. That's when I was done. Like,
right, because that one didn't even have any actual B-sides on it. It was just shittier remixes of like more trumpet mix. I was like, no, god damn.
That's why I don't like the song.
Like I didn't have that one forever. Too. Yeah, I got that like fairly recently, real cheap on eBay, just for my own like
Yeah, it took me a long time.
Nerves factor.
Yeah, it took me a long time to actually find it on vinyl, and I just kind of accidentally found it. But yeah,
what a waste of money.
Yeah, I know, but I gotta be part of the collection.
That's what I was wondering. Or you're kind of relieved and excited, but kind of pissed when you find it too. It's like, oh damn it. Yeah, I know that feeling too.
But do you think they had any control over what was released, or like do you think it like if you think if the label was going to put it out, the label would have some sort of like knowledge of like what's going on, what'll sell and what won't sell, just based on I'm sure they're running some sort of like I don't know what they call them, but like just
algorithms.
Well, no, just
like what the kids are
testing other people, like what they like and what don't like. And, like they do it for movies all the time. I'm sure they did it for.
I see what you're saying. Where like so much, they're getting so much money, and these companies are invested.
Yeah,
like the record labels are invested so much in them. Where like he doesn't have any say anymore. Maybe because like he's always made a point, Robert Smith, of being in control of everything, but. Yeah, like when you get into that kind of money, I don't think they told him what to do, but like it's definitely a big fucking factor. You've like, I need some fucking singles.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the area where he probably does lose a little bit more say, and the fact that like maybe that it's weirder with this one because like the album clearly hadn't done well by this point. It came out in December, so they knew that the album wasn't gonna be like successful.
Is he swinging for the fences?
Well, he was. That's what I think. This one had to have been like a label thing. We're like, well, this is a peppy number. But I mean, it seems like if anybody with a brain would have seen like what you just said with the charts and stuff, like they probably would have done better putting "Want" out as like a 4th single, because it would have been like that would have won back some old Cure fans.
That's that mixtape, dude.
Would have been a little bit like moodier or something, And it's like you're not going to get like radio airplay with that, but at the same time, people would be into. I don't know. Yeah, because I mean they're just going for like that pop hit still.
I'll give
like
everyone what they don't want.
Well, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I'll go the opposite way of you guys. That I think it was, like I said with I forget what song it was, but I think it was deliberate, and I think that it was Robert more than the label. Like I don't think the label would put that out. Like I really don't think that they.
What song?
Gone. I don't think the label would say this is the one that's going to recoup some album sales.
He gave them that,
and he was just like, this is what I want for a single.
It's very strategic in his.
And I do kind of remember like
execution.
Maybe it was a middle
Strange
finger.
Attraction and that kind of were like almost buddy singles, where like. So maybe he picked one and they picked one and they just put them both out like at different times, you know, and it probably didn't cost anything to technically put it out. It's like, I mean, really, what does it matter? But at the same time, yeah, it's just weird. And the fact that he chose 13th really like strongly would prove Chaz's point of like, you know, he probably thought that was like cool and different and would want that to be like a Cure single as opposed to taking the obvious, you know.
Yeah, because Mint Car seems like an obvious label.
There's no
single,
way around that.
You know,
it's very purposeful.
And what was the other song? Strange Attraction was a single.
Yeah,
that seems like an obvious label. It's poppy. So, it's you know, it's
so
the other
two are probably the ones.
The other two are just like they don't make any sense for singles, like none whatsoever.
So they probably were Robert's choice. That makes no sense. I agree with you. Weird, but all right, moving on. Well, this is the lowest point for me, and then it starts to turn up again. Yeah. So we get the track number 10, Numb. And I'm always a little surprised people defend this song a little more than I thought they would. I hate this song so much. This is like right up there with Round and Round. But a few people, like when I see other people's like revised versions of this album, they tend to leave this one on there, and I'm always a little surprised by that. But it's like so like... I hate the strings on it, which is weird for me because I normally love any strings, but the way it echoes his vocals, I'm in love with the drug, dun, 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 and it like kicks in like a Batman song again or something. I don't know, but it's like got that Judge Dredd thing that I don't like going on. And,
is this the one where he's like get up and get out and get gone?
No, that's gone.
That's a different song. That song sucks.
Oh boy, we gotta move fast. We're losing him. But
it's the same kind. It's the same kind of song, right?
Oh god.
No, this is like a real slow one actually. It's got lots of strings. He's talking about drugs and how he's in love with the drug, the one that makes you numb. And that's what I don't like about it, because it actually goes back to a Donaldism of like the literal, where it's like, how many songs has he like had some kind of mysterious drug, you know, reference in the song, but he's never just flat out talked about drugs, you know, and it's just like, but you know, I don't know. What do you think, Chaz? I don't want to just.
Is this a song about where he sings about being numb?
Yeah, get up, get out, and get numb.
What do I call this? Numb. I wrote a song about being numb. What do I name it?
I have written down because I don't really remember it too. It's kind of forgettable, but I said it's an okay song.
Yeah. I jotted down that it's just kind of boring too, so that kind of fits in there.
Yeah, no impact on me whatsoever, like one way or another. Like I don't hate it, but I don't like it.
Yeah, definitely be my right behind Round and Round on the chopping block for me. But and then the next one's weird because it's Return 11, and it's a poppy song that I'm not crazy about. I go back and forth where I don't totally hate it, but then it's like a poppy one that I just don't like that much. It's just like it almost works. It's like the tempo's good. I like that they're having fun and it's kind of catchy, but then the lyrics aren't amazing. And it's
really
just like
good name.
Yeah, you know, there's all like a lot of weird, like with the clock samples going and stuff, and the 3:75 a.m.
Yeah.
Burr, 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 burr. Actually, the trumpets again get fucking stupid on this one. This is one that you don't need trumpets on at all, and it was like, And even going back to something I didn't say earlier of how like Strange Attraction also never sounded good live. Like you hear those like watch those live things and it's always like super thin and sounds stupid. This is like one too that like it like where they're trying to do Roger's doing like synth trumpets and you know, it works a little better on the record because they got like real people playing it and 5,000 tracks going, but like when they were doing it live, it was just like like doing the synth trumpets. It's just like and it just sounds real thin and I don't know, man. But it's you know,
I have just that it's poppy. The trumpets, I put a giant X over the top of it. And it could have been a good song if you're going for the poppy vein. And I don't know if it's this song. I'm pretty sure it is, but like I listened to it, I had to rewind it like 3 or 4 times because I heard like a little bit of Friday I'm in Love in there, like just with like
I knew what you're talking about, dude. I heard that shit too.
So I heard it for like 5 seconds, and I'm just like I rewound it and like heard it again. I'm like okay,
yeah, man.
I was like I guess they're but that would have been another possible single if the record company had their way, So.
Yeah, and maybe I don't know, maybe even better than "Gone" as a single. I don't know. Yeah, they're all kind
it's
of
definitely better. It just about any song on this album is better than "Gone" as a single.
Was "Gone" your most hated single or most hated song?
It's definitely it's got to be my least favorite single on this song.
Yeah.
It's right up there with the 13th, but I think it's definitely worse. I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, let's move on from Return to Trap. This was the angrier song on there, and Donald kind of referenced this earlier. It reminds me of Cut from Wish.
Yeah.
It kind of has like that like wah-wah riff and like kind of the angrier, I don't know, tone vocals for sure, and then it's just a little more of a rock song. It's like
song's pointless.
Like
that's what I have down too. I just have Forgettable.
But you guys hated Cut, so that makes sense that you wouldn't be that crazy about this is like a poor man's Cut. So.
I know, which is terrible.
I liked Cut, so I'm down with this song too. But yeah, it could get a little drowning like a fly in my drink. This one, I think, is the most obvious possible Lowell song. You think he's singing about Lowell in this? The whole like. Next time you listen to it, because it's all like, you lied about being on the thing. It's like, I don't care what you think.
Dude, I know
so
you're talking
sick
about.
of it all.
I think
and
so.
like, it's very like,
it's very
angry.
low.
Yeah.
This song is some low, like, you fucking piece of shit.
And I'm surprised it's not all over this record. You would think that would be the main emotions flowing at this point, would be like betrayal of friendship and shit, and
it's
like,
heavy stuff,
But this one seems to really fit the bill. I haven't read anything that's ever said that, so it's total speculation, but at the same time...
I think that's one of the major things on the album that bothers me is that all the shit he was going through with, everybody leaving the band, which I don't know at that point if it made that big of an impact on him, but
I think
everybody left the band for the most part, and then the whole thing with Lowell, and he's really good at using personal, stuff that happens so personally, like to reflect in the music. You look at pornography and you look at, disintegration and whatnot and faith.
It makes sense.
And like this, there's like literally no reflection of what's going on. Like none that I can't make a connection at all. I mean, maybe with that song, but it's kind of like,
I wonder if something with the drugs thing with Numb might be something, maybe. With like Simon's situation, or I don't know what was going on, but like. So, I mean, it's definitely, who knows? And like, if anything that seems obvious, it's kind of like Gone and like even Round and Round. A few of those that are like, oh, we're stuck in the fame circle.
Yeah,
the
like
muck and the mire.
Yeah, and Club America and stuff are those kind of obvious, like, I'm sick of being in the whirlwind of too much fame, but nobody really wants to hear songs about
like
that.
Don't do it.
Yeah,
like, or don't write songs about it.
I want to hear you like do some, like you said, some diss rap album on Lowell would have been fucking better actually. If he just like the whole fucking thing was just him like destroying like Lowell with like
an orchestral diss track. Like,
Sounds like almost would have been like, oh shit. You know?
yeah,
This violin really symbolizes how I feel. And then,
yeah, totally. Did you hear that cello part?
I wrote that about Lowell.
Yeah. And this one had different drummers. Mark Price was a different drummer, which is just a cool rock beat, you know? So definitely no pattern there. I was like, oh, okay.
All the drums were good on this record.
Yeah,
Like,
they're
I'm
good.
not
I don't like the
dissing
sounds
any
of all of
fucking
them,
drummers,
but like,
man, like they all play
playing
their
is
tits
great.
off. Like,
yeah. Maybe too much, if anything. But,
exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
Like, but they're good. Like,
But I like Jason. Like, I like him live.
yeah.
I think he's a solid drummer live. You know. So
Yeah, you're never going to hear like a drum flub.
no,
A Cure shit. I mean,
that
he's
dude's
never gonna
tight
be
as
like,
shit, man. His time is
I love watching him play.
fucking
Like,
spot on.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, he's really good, and I love. The only, like, one of the few things I like about this record is his playing on it, like, on songs that he actually plays on. Like,
Yeah.
that opening one is so good. Like,
yeah.
I'm glad they're matching up for the most part on all the ones you like. Cool. Well, moving on to the next track is Treasure, track 13 on this album. And yeah, this is one of my favorite highlights. It's the loveliest song on the record, I think. It's just such a cool, underrated, beautiful song. It's really cool just seeing a live thing of it recently where they play the bass 6 is the solo. I didn't realize that's what he's doing. Like that's all like on the bass 6, so that's pretty cool. If you don't mind me getting sappy for a minute, it's my super sentimental song too, because my mom passed away the year before that, and I don't believe in any afterlife, unfortunately, or spirituality or anything, but I felt like if she was ever going to try to contact me from beyond, it would be through a Cure album, because she knew it would be the only way I'd listen to it, probably. So, like, the super, like, sad death lyrics of the song, and so that meant a lot when it came out. I was just like, hey, because it was sad that, you know, she had been on, like, such a huge Cure journey with me all those years leading up to that, and I was like, I got this album on my own, and then there was that song just kind of tucked at the end, and it was super sweet. And of course, it kind of took away from it, as life tends to do, when I realized later that like he had like referenced this poem apparently by Christina Rossetti. So it was like basically all the lyrics are kind of really stripped almost directly from this old poem. So I was like, oh, so it was no divine intervention of my mother speaking to Robert Smith through. It's like, you know, but that's how life works.
it's all
so
connected, dude.
Yeah, I think so. You know, why not? But so that, you know, fucking meant the world to me, of course. And I still think it's a great song. Even that aside, it's just like kind of that classic Cure, you know, even with all the weird production and shit. I feel like this could have been the only one really you could throw on a lot of those other albums and re-record it, and probably could have fit on Disintegration even or something like that, you know. But
now I can't shit on this song because
sorry,
that
man.
was so sweet. That was so sweet.
It's just like total piece of shit. I'm like, really? That's my mom's song.
Bad.
She came back from the dead to write that song.
It's cool. It's cool.
Sorry. But yeah, I mean, it's just like sweet and to the point too, you know. It's not like overly long or like fucking no trumpets going or anything. It's just like, finally, just fucking do this for like 8 songs and we have an album. It's like, why didn't you just do this earlier?
You got 30 songs on this fucking record. Like,
Yeah,
maybe
now we're just finally doing this on track 13, you know. It's like the Cure's bread and butter here, you know? What the fuck? Could have been a single if I was in charge of the record label. I was like, that's it. That's what the people want to hear.
I think it's a great song. What did you put the cover on one of your other cover episodes?
Yeah, on the cover episode, there was a guy that showed what a great structurally cool song it is, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I like that song. I liked the song before I heard that cover, but just like I listened to that cover like 3 or 4 more times, and then like I went back and listened to that song. I was like, It really hits home. It's really good. It definitely became a favorite after revisiting the album a couple times over the last 6 months. So yeah, I definitely give it a thumbs up. I think it should have been the last song on the album. I mean, not saying that
maybe
that Bear shouldn't have been on the album, but I feel like it should have been flipped, and that they should have ended the album with that.
Yeah, it's hard to come back from that because I feel like it does is just like hit everything so perfectly that it would have been a good closer too. Yeah. Maybe not long enough.
Maybe
your tradition of just having like some epically overly gigantic finale for a Cure song, but yeah. But I do love Bear, the last song.
Oh yeah, so do I.
It's fucking epic as shit. Yeah. 8 minutes almost.
It is really long.
I love that it has like the fake out endings even and shit. You know, just like, okay. And he's like, but there were long, long nights when I lay. It was like, oh shit, he's not done yet. And yeah, just fucking heart wrenching again. Like that's where it just comes back, and like I feel like I can't bash this album because I love the ending of it so much. You know, it's like just that one little stretch in the end there where I hate, but like. This song's so good. 12-string ovation in full effect, rocking that shit. And I don't know. I feel like it's a good underrated one. I would love it if this one somehow came back into sets. You know, even though it would soak up half the fucking set probably. But I think it's beautiful lyrics. One that, in hindsight, I always thought that about Trap with lullness, but. If you take like the over super like dramatic angle, I was like, this could almost be a lull one too. When he talks about, you know, like we could still be friends. Yeah, one last useless vow and all this, and because it's so painted as a relationship song at first, but then you're like, oh wait a minute, maybe you know, it might be Cure nerd digging a little too deep, you know, but maybe it's part of that. I don't know, but I hadn't thought of this one being in that way before, but I was like, oh shit, maybe this could be like a over romanticized. Yeah, your friend wronged you away too, so worth a listen. And I've been happy to start playing this one. It never occurred to me to like play this on an acoustic guitar. I was like, this is like if there was ever like an acoustic folk song by The Cure, this is the one to fucking do. And I was like, yeah. But then I realized I have to remember like 18 verses of lyrics. I was like, shit. I'm never gonna. You think you know them, and if you're kind of glancing at them, you could read it and know it. But
it's like Dylan-esque, like just like blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but it's not rambly. You know, it's very well paced, and I love the melody, and has this little piano parts. They're real good at There's one I was listening back to How Beautiful You Are too, or it just has like that down 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 down, and that's like all you hear for that one piano part. And there's something that I can't think of off the top of my head in Bear that's the same way, where it's just like kind of like a little piano riff almost at the end of each little phrasing, and it's beautiful, man. I love it. Yeah. But
I think it definitely could be, you know, towards lull.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same sense, I made a joke before. Well, not here, but I think Pictures of You is about lull. But
meme,
right on.
No, but definitely it's got some really personal lyrics. You know.
Yeah, something's fucking going on. There's no way that's just made up. Yeah. After
especially like
watching it,
where he says, "All the tears you cry, they're not tears for me. Regrets about your life, they're not regrets for me." It's, you know, it's like, it's some pretty deep shit, you know, going on in the song. And like,
for sure.
I don't see it like, I don't know. I don't know his relationship with his wife, you know, so I mean, you know, you're kind of like, who's
they have an open relationship.
Yeah. Like who's
even
this about?
So, yeah. I mean, they seem like they've still fucking managed to work this long. Then how the fuck is this song applied to that?
That's you spent $1.5 million on the Wild Mood Swings.
Yeah, exactly. And then she like left him for a weekend, and he wrote the song. That's very possible,
Yeah.
but at the same time,
Yeah, but these are like some really hard,
yeah,
there's
some serious shit going on. I always love a song too where the phrasing doesn't really, it's not very like traditional. I feel like it almost has to have more personal weight.
Yeah.
When you're cramming like words and phrases in, like when you're saying like just that part you recited, it's so like not something you would just plug into like a chord progression that you have.
Yeah, it doesn't flow.
Like, I just want to write a sword song.
Yeah.
It's like he really wants to say this and he's going to make it fit in this fucking chord progression, whether it does or not, and that's like, I don't know. Maybe he's just great at the trickery of that too, I think, because obviously he's not that miserable. But
I think strings come across better than horns, especially if you're going to play that song live. They come across better with, if you're somebody's playing keyboards, they come across better, with the keyboard rather than horns with the keyboard. So
yeah,
just
they kind of dug themselves into a hole.
Trumpets and like
how the fuck are you gonna play this live? It's like,
it almost would sound dope with like fucking horns, like some trombones and trumpets.
If they just brought like a whole fucking
marching band
horn section with them,
oh, that would sound so good.
With the Michigan State Marching Band.
Yeah.
Oh, God. No. Oh, man. Well, that wraps up Wild Mood Swings as an album, I guess, is our final thoughts. I think we've probably touched on it along the way if people have not picked up on it. I think probably the overall umbrella consensus would be that it's too much shit going on. And the production, too many songs, I think
wishy-washy.
It's easy to say too many songs now because like it's obvious, but like back in the 90s, for whatever the fuck reason, every album had like 14 songs at least. It was like a weird window. Like it was always too many, Like I feel like you listen to
this
any
song is called
90s
the 13th,
album, they're putting
but in this 14 songs.
To get it?
That's how dumb it is.
No. I don't know. For whatever reason, I guess because of CDs, they thought they could cram 14 on more naturally. And normally I'm like a dude that's like, whatever the fuck. I'm a Ryan Adams fan. I'm like, yeah, crank them out, man. I don't care. Put everything on a fucking CD. But I mean, for The Cure, it's a little different. Like there are, so like we said earlier, they're so good at like cohesive albums and themes and having a mood and when you do that and it's a really long album, it's like, ugh, you know what I mean?
And I think you miss that.
Yeah, I don't think any level Cure fan, whether you love this album or totally fucking hate it, everyone agrees.
It's a fucker.
You could have at least taken 2 songs off. Just trim it down to a 12 song at least. Like
how about make it 12 songs and then make the 13th this hidden track to be the 13th track.
There we go. Yeah, they didn't utilize the hidden track. That was big back then. They should have just made like half the album the hidden tracks. That would have been good.
Like the one good song would be the hidden track.
Yeah, you got to fast forward through like 30 minutes of
That's
nothing.
what they would have done. Yeah.
30 fucking garbage songs to get that hidden track.
But I mean, it's tough in the sense too that like we didn't really tap on that too much at the top of like sentimental value. Like you talked about that with Wish. I probably had that more for this one to a fault. Like where it was a weird album because we had made it through that 4-year gap, and like we're saying, it was our first year like out of high school, so I felt like a pseudo adult. And I remember this was the first one I drove to wherever the fuck we did it together. I don't even know if you remember this. We drove. I think we went to probably Best Buy. I don't think we bought it from Blue Dog, our record store, but we bought it. We drove back to your parents' house, and we fucking it was like fucking cheaper, It was like Best Buy. That's how shitty our town was. We went back to your house and listened to it, and I remember being kind of like on edge because like I'd read the lyrics and I had all this whole like ritual that I normally did at my house, but I'm like, whatever, man, we're like adults now. Like listening to this album together in your bedroom at your parents' house.
We're big boys.
But I remember, we're big boys. We're just all curled up here on your bunk beds listening to the Scare album. But I remember when we listened to it, and there was definitely like a like we weren't blown away, But at the same time, I was kind of like, I was like, well, I just need to dig into this on my own because there's some weird shit going on. And, you know, I didn't hate it right away. It's hard to say if there was like some Phantom Menace syndrome going on or what, where I was like, this is all right. It's good, you know, but I was like, but I didn't hate it. And like, but, you know, it was just like a weird transition thing. But I mean, I still find that like just sentimental value for sure. Like I said, even like 13th, you know, like that whole era was just fun because that was like the album I was constantly playing, you know, over and over. Like that whole driving around in my purple Saturn. I had a 95 Saturn. It was purple, dark purple. It kind of fit with the Wild Mood Swings theme somehow. But,
this record is like, it's like the joy and danger of nostalgia.
Yeah.
Not to bring nostalgia up again, but
you know, for better and worse, like I say, all right, teeters on better for Wish. I think you could be nostalgic and it's still a good album. This, maybe my nostalgia is like makes me like it a little more than I probably should. You know, I'd be willing to admit that. But at the same time, you know, I think there are some great parts of this album, but at the same time, there's some dogs for sure. We just did a whole episode of how weird it was for 4 years, but that becomes the regular, you know, and it's like, it'll be 4 years till Blood Flowers after this, which is fucking weird. So, I mean, this is just like this stranded island. And I think even like
4 years till Blood
it's another
Flowers?
4 years till Blood Flowers. So, yeah. They put out like Galore and I think maybe something else in between. But, yeah, they put out Galore. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, these huge gaps just become the regular thing. But I think that's kind of one of the reasons why people are hard on Wild Mood Swings 2 in a sense, because it is stranded in between those gaps. Like if they just put out another album real quick, it's like, okay, yeah, that was a weird thing where some of it worked, some of it didn't. Let's move on. You know, I think that's kind of the key to just cranking out any weird shit or maybe a little even subpar or whatever you want to call it. You know, it's just like nobody cares if you just keep putting shit out, you know, but it's like,
you had 4
if this is what you have. Yeah, it took 4 years to write it, and then you have to sit on it for fucking another 4 years. You know, it's just like, so collectively, it's fucking 8 years of the band. Just that's what you got. That's a lot of time, you know. But onward, and I guess in a good wrapping up point is our good boy Robert Smith is not a dummy. We can all take solace in the fact that if you learn one thing from Wild Mood Swings and the weird uncohesive nature of it, he pulls it all the fuck together again for Blood Flowers. Love it or hate it, that album's cohesive as fuck, right? I mean, that's a mood right there. Whether it works or not, we'll figure out next episode. But he at least, I feel like, learned a little something like, yeah, that was like not focused, so let's focus this shit way too much, maybe to a fault even, where he's too focused on Blood Flowers. So this might go the full end of the other spectrum coming up.
It should have been his shoegaze record.
Yeah, maybe, you know, like because Blood Flowers
is like, because it's like just full on guitar fucking cock rock.
Yeah, there's a lot of guitar shit on Blood Flowers though. We'll see. We'll see. Donald's anxious to get there. He can't wait. I know Chaz loves Blood Flowers. So
I'm gonna have to listen to Blood Flowers.
This one's gonna get a little sweatier, I think. But
I'll get back to you guys.
But that's Wild Mood Swings, ladies and gentlemen. For better or worse, it's part of the catalog, and you know, I feel like it's worth a listen. So go out there, pop it on.
Don't listen to it.
See where you stand.
It's the Waterworld of Cure albums.
Listen to other records.
No. Come on. There's enough hours in the day. It's not like silly. No. I mean, I wouldn't just sit there and listen, like stare at your radio while it's playing. You could do shit while it's playing too. You can
fucking
drive to work,
stab yourself in the asshole
dinner or something.
Times. Like you could do it.
I guess if that's the most constructive thing you could
listen
think
to Dishwalla's greatest hits.
Yeah, at the same time, maybe you'll get a weird mashup going. But either way, thank you, listeners out there, and we look forward to continuing this fine journey on. And, you know, I guess all we could say from here is talk hard, and thanks to Donald and Chaz. You guys rule. Talk hard.
Cheers.
You've got nothing left to say.
just say goodbye. All right, there you go. Doesn't get any more official than that. Thanks again to Donald and Chaz and you guys for listening. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and find us on Instagram so you can get all the latest and greatest from the Holy Hour podcast. Go on over to the Facebook page. You can comment on a thread over there or drop me a message. Or drop me a message directly at gavinconner@gmail.com. That's also where you can send any contributions. If you want to record your friends talking about Wild Mood Swings or any of the other albums, feel free. Conversations are welcomed. Comments and suggestions too. So send them our way. If Chaz sounds familiar, it's because he's the mastermind behind 17-second shirts. .bigcartel.com, where you can find all kinds of cool and unique Cure shirts, super comfortable, affordable, and you know what, you're not gonna find them anywhere else, and you gotta move fast, so keep your eyes peeled. 17-second shirts, bigcartel.com is where you want to check those out. And yeah, and until next time, we will be moving on. I know you're thinking, what? Wait a minute, I just listened to these fucking guys for 2 hours and they never mentioned anything about the Swing Tour. They barely talked about the B-sides, and they didn't even mention hockey jerseys. Well, don't worry, that's all coming up in a bonus Wild Mood Swings era episode, packed full of contributions, so you don't have to hear us babbling about it. But for now, I think we're good on the album. So thanks for listening. Talk hard again.